broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, AfterBuzzers. You are watching the HBO's Looking After Show, Season 2, Episode 7, Looking for a Plot. I'm your host, Kylie Hodges, and before we go any further, if you haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube. You can also find us on SoundCloud and iTunes, and on YouTube you can take part in the ongoing chat roll, so you can talk about how pretty we all look today. And look at my beautiful co-host. Who's next to me on my right? This handsome man.
I am Scott Moore, guys. It's good to be here. I've barely made it, and I'm plotzing over looking for a plot.
Welcome.
Plotzing.
That was so good. I see a lot of wordplay tonight. And Kelly, introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I'm Kellie Knezovich.
And I'm Blake McIver. Oh, I was waiting for your plot. I was trying to think of mine. I was like, I'm looking so forward to this show.
We've been plotting plot jokes.
Yes.
We should have plotted harder.
I'm sorry.
This night is going so well.
Yeah,
Off
right.
to a
Sorry,
terrible
everyone.
start.
No, I love it.
Hey.
So can we collectively agree that last night's episode was good?
It was
yeah.
great.
It was great.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Good.
much
Oh, yeah.
better than good.
Best of the season.
Yes,
I think
I was
so,
going to say,
too.
it's
Yeah.
my favorite.
Yeah, same.
A lot happened, and it was outside of San Francisco, which is a little bit of a refresh, something new. But it's kind of a sad topic. It's Doris's dad dies, and we cut to the chase and start right there. Poor
Yeah,
Doris.
I know.
Yeah.
That whole scene over coffee and breakfast, it was just so... It was so bizarre for me to watch. I had to rewatch it a couple times just because I was very shocked at Doris's reaction. I mean, my father has never died before, so I don't know how I would react, but I just don't know if I would react in the same way that she did.
Yeah.
But then again, I can't say that I wouldn't react that way. So
It was great because it was just so typically Doris. It was just like how she would process
Right.
that. Like, oh, yeah, okay, all right, fuck.
yeah,
You know, like.
and that's
it
not
was
my coffee.
just-
Where's my coffee?
Right. It was just so. Oof. It was chilling. Like Lauren
Yeah.
just knocked it out of the park in this episode.
Yeah.
It was great to see her really just get to sort of take the lead story.
Yeah.
I loved
Yeah,
it.
that's
I
why I
feel like
love
we've
that.
been waiting so long for this, and she killed it.
Yeah.
She killed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we've talked about this in previous episodes,
Yeah.
how we're waiting for her to have her moment, and she had that moment, which I thought was great.
Totally. And then it continues with the bizarre reaction from Doris when she is at the funeral home with Pat and Dom, and she sees her dad's dead body.
Yeah.
I didn't think we were going to see it so soon. I thought
I
it was
didn't
going to
think
be
we
a
were
build-up.
going there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we really went there.
Yeah, we did.
And it's interesting. She says it later, but there were no tears at that moment. She just kept very panicky. She's like, oh, fuck. Here I am. There's a dead body. Ugh.
Yeah.
But very Doris.
Right, I was
Yeah.
going to say, going back to what Blake said, I think it was very Doris, and also it was sort of, it's that shock. It's still allowing that to sink in, and it's her, so it was quintessential Doris.
And Dom had my favorite line of the whole episode in that funeral, in the open casket scene where she goes, "Oh God, I hate all the makeup that they put on them," and he goes, "He kind of looks like a drag queen."
I know.
I was like, what? It was just such a perfect encapsulation
Right.
of their friendship. Like
Yeah.
he had the one-liner right when she needed it most.
Exactly. She
Only
needed it.
that friendship could handle
Exactly.
hearing your dead dad looks like a drag.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
I would just slap him.
Yeah, right, at that
How dare
moment.
you?
Don't talk about my dad that way.
Yeah. I really liked this episode too because it was it gave us backstory on Dom and Doris.
Oh, absolutely.
So much.
They go way further back than I
Yeah.
ever thought.
Yeah, same.
It's kind of cute.
Yeah. No, because I always thought that, I knew from before this that they had been friends for a really long time. I just didn't know how
Right.
long.
Yeah.
And then when they're in the swimming pool, and that's at the hotel after the funeral home, and we learn about that, they're reflecting on when they used to have sex, and how Dom apparently enjoyed it, or didn't enjoy it. He thought she enjoyed it though.
Right.
That's
Dom
what it was.
enjoyed it.
Dom
Doris
enjoyed it,
did
yeah,
not.
Doris did.
Yeah.
And then the whole Patrick story about
And
you
it-
know touching a girl and he was doing this, and I was like, let's just put the hand down. Someone
The hand
Let's
put that
stop.
hand
I
down.
love it. You're like, just put the hand down.
That
Maybe
motion was
don't.
great.
Yeah, just,
Yeah.
That finger.
If anybody is turned on by this, then maybe.
well, then maybe
There's
you're
some-
into something
hey,
very specific.
There is, I was gonna say, there is somebody out there who is interested in that, and that's okay.
We're a judgment-free zone.
That's
and
right.
We're looking after
That's
show.
okay.
Just because we don't participate does not mean
Right.
we're shading you.
That's right.
Oh.
No,
Are you to fan yourself after that?
Oh Lord, I just thought about Patrick with a girl. That was weird. Moving on.
Yeah.
But actually,
Better
before
move
they're
on.
before they're in the swimming pool, they go to Dom's dad's old diner. And my favorite line of the show
I was gonna
happens
try to say
here.
that 3 times fast. Dom's dad's old diner. Dom's dad's old diner.
That's a lot of little alliteration for you all tonight. My favorite line of the night happens when Doris goes, "My dad just died, and this place is more depressing to me," because it's like an old donut shop, and like
Yeah,
right.
the employees are just like, "Well, we have the best apple fritters in the side of Modesto." You know,
Yeah.
it's a rundown little joint, and Dom like just won't let go that it used to be so great in his
Yeah.
eyes, and
Yeah, yeah. But
What
also, it's kind of
memories.
interesting too, because then you kind of get his love of food and the restaurant business and everything else too. So that was because I had no idea, you know, that his dad ever did anything like that, obviously. So that was good to
It
find
kind of
that
makes
out.
sense why
Right.
he is the way he is.
Right, exactly.
His
And
determination.
conflictedly passionate about
Yeah.
his own project.
Right.
We got a lot of like sense of things were glorified in their memories more so than the reality of it
Right.
in this episode. Like Doris with the pool being like, I always thought it was so rock star, this Clarion
Yeah.
Inn
Yeah.
pool in Modesto. I'm like,
Exactly.
okay.
But
it
you
was
know,
so cute. I kind of wished I was there.
right. But
Swimming in a pool with my friends.
But in a way, it kind of is something that we all can relate to. You know,
Yeah.
sort of like going back to seeing our childhood stuff, and for most of us, it does. It seems a lot bigger and a lot more amazing.
Exactly.
When we're kids, and then we come back, or when we're younger, and we go out in the world, we come back as adults, we see, oh, this is what it was, and it's
Well,
a totally different perspective.
I mean,
so.
come on, you have Modesto and then you have San Francisco.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, San Francisco is beautiful and huge and big buildings and so many people. And then you go to Modesto. I'm from the Bay Area, so I mean, I know Modesto inside and out. And so it's just like, what?
But
this
Mode-
compared to San Francisco, this is nothing.
But Modesto was so pretty in American Graffiti in the 50s.
No, Modesto,
George Lucas made it look so good.
but yeah,
He's great at
makes
art
everything look
direction.
good. But yeah, I
That's
mean,
his thing.
but I think it's that parallel for what we all experience of like going back from our youth and being kind of disappointed, like, oh, this isn't as amazing as it is. Even like our
Right.
childhood homes, we had a whole different impression of them. We see them, we come back, we're growing up, our hometown, everything. So I think that was a good parallel for people in general to kind of relate to that.
But still, she's going back to her hometown not on good terms.
Yeah.
I mean, she's not going back like, oh, it's my dad's birthday party.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a sad occasion.
yeah,
So, of course,
right.
it's kind of everything I feel is going to be it's going to look very dim in her eyes. And really in everyone's
Anyone.
eyes, in
Exactly.
Dom's and Patrick's.
Dom and Doris were both a little vulnerable in this episode, and it made me think about when I bring my adult friends to something childhood related for me. I feel like you just feel a smidgen embarrassed no matter what.
Well, yeah, there's like
And
that sense of vulnerability a little
yeah.
bit. Like you're letting someone into something that's very personal.
Yeah.
And you again, it kind of goes back to what we were just saying of those parallels and being like, okay, it's not as impressive. Maybe it was as it was for me as a child. You're
Right.
bringing your adult friends in. So yeah, there's
Yeah.
a little vulnerability. There's a little, yeah.
And I think we learned just as much, if not more, about Dom than we do Doris in this episode, which I liked. I
Whoa,
liked-
you think so?
Well, maybe an equal amount, but I mean, we get to know a bit about Dom's past, and it weaves in with Doris's, but like his family life as well as
Yeah.
That's
Doris's,
true.
and
Yeah.
And the type of person he was it wasn't at the funeral, it was after when that person came up to him and was like, oh, what are you doing, right?
it
was
was
during the
at the
funeral?
like luncheon.
Okay, and
Yeah.
he's like,
the
well,
bar.
I'm gay now. You know, I mean, it's just, he's so different from when
Yeah.
he left Modesto.
Right.
Was the question, what have you been up to? And then the answer,
No, I
I'm
think
gay
it was,
now.
I think it was, did you and Doris get married or
Oh,
something
yeah,
like
Yeah,
that?
yeah, because he was talking about his wife.
Yeah,
And he goes, oh, did you and Doris ever get married? No, I'm gay
yeah.
No,
now.
I'm gay now. That guy was just like,
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I love that reaction. I've had that
Oh,
moment
great.
happen many
Cool.
times with my
Yeah.
childhood friends where
Right.
I'm gay now. cool. Always
It's
Same here,
a
I know.
weird conversation.
It is.
Like, how do you go about it in a comfortable way? It's kind of like,
And that
oh, okay.
Yeah, and that conversation just kept getting weirder and weirder because it was like, okay, well, what are you doing now? And he's like, well, I'm, about like trying to start my own chicken or whatever his reaction. Like, it just, I felt like he wasn't proud of his life. And this guy who was trying to respond to him was trying to be positive, but it didn't really turn out that well. It was just kind of an awkward conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I think he became very self-aware. And I don't know about you guys, but whenever I go home and I see my friends who are, like, married and own houses and have kids and their life feels very, like, comfortable and, nice and routine.
Stable.
And I'm like, that could be nice. And then I feel like dumb. We're like, well, maybe I could make a life work in little old Wisconsin.
Oh,
And
yeah. I've been
the
there,
back of my head
I've been
is
there
like-
many times with that before when I go home, too. I'm like, oh, I could have the family life and the stable job and the house. Well, not this typical family life, but
Right.
the
Something
husband
a little more
and-
comfortable. Yeah.
But it is crazy to see that and then kind of see, because we've all been there.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Dom got sucked into the allure of the comfortable
And
life
being
in
at
a small.
home.
Yeah.
So after they're swimming at the pool, and by the way, eating the KFC was so funny to me.
If your
the
chicken
pool
could
side.
taste like this.
That was amazing.
It was like I could just see myself doing that with my friends.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Well, here we are at Clarion and eating KFC.
I mean, I would
Patio.
have some alcoholic beverage with me
Yes,
in the pool
yes,
and chicken.
yes,
so,
absolutely.
But, I mean, that'd be my
Yeah.
difference.
That would be
You gotta
mine, too.
wash down
Right.
that.
You do.
You need
fried.
to, yes.
Yeah.
So then they go out to a bar, and it's like this seedy, towny country bar. Dom and Doris are just living it up, dancing.
The saddest little gay bar in Modesto that
Yeah.
by the end of the scene I kind of wanted to go to. I was kind of like, I kind of
like,
want to
there's something
see
intriguing
like
about
what
this
that Lady Gaga drag queen that's going to be
Yeah.
on at midnight. I'm like,
Yeah.
I kind of want to see her.
It was just so funny because Patrick was so desperate for some lovin', and he like picks out this guy at the bar who looks like he's all lonely, and Patrick's like, oh, I feel for him, I've been there. And then 2 seconds later a guy comes up and starts kissing him, and then it's just Patrick by himself at the bar.
I feel like Patrick just can't be alone.
No.
He cannot appreciate being
No.
single. He needs to
He
find.
needs to.
He needs some affection from somebody always.
I was Patrick. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah,
like
the-
I went through that
Like
phase.
the serial monogamist kind of, where you
Yeah.
just hop on to one date and relationship after the other. And you
And
don't
even
take-
if it's not a real relationship,
Right.
you just kind of
It's just
cling to
with
whatever that
somebody
fling
at
is
the
in your
moment.
life.
And I
Yeah.
totally get it. I just feel like Patrick needs to be single.
Right.
He
Yeah.
needs
He
to
does.
just.
Or
Gotta
just be
sor-
with
he's gotta
Richie.
sort
Team
it out.
Richie.
Oh,
Oh, I went, well, that's not happening right now.
Yeah, I mean, the end of this episode, I'm all,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
all
I know.
worked up.
It was
and
I know.
We got 15 minutes before we let that unleash. So after the bar, it's the actual funeral, and what a bizarre scene.
Yeah.
Because they're at the gravesite, and Doris's aunt Sarah is giving a really nice, beautiful eulogy.
It was beautiful. Very touching.
yeah.
And Doris looked moved. Everyone looked very moved. And then we got old Patty in the back just weeping up a storm.
Just had to make it about him.
Yes.
No, I'm
Just
kidding.
wailing.
I'm so kidding. I'm so kidding.
No, and you
Don't
could
even
tell
that.
he
No.
was very.
I was like, but he did. No.
You could tell he was very embarrassed.
Yeah.
But that
Totally.
hit a spot. I mean, my God.
Well, I mean, he did say he's never been to a funeral before.
Yeah.
But
I know, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
I don't know. Like nobody, like nothing. I don't know.
Yeah.
don't
I
get
just
that.
feel like it really brought forth a lot of emotions that he hasn't really had to deal with ever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of, I think he kind of realized, wow, I am alone. I don't have anyone, as well as, funeral, it's sad. There's
Right,
it's
right.
a bunch of emotion that is just not really positive emotion.
Yeah.
Everyone's so down.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, is like the funeral sort of as the symbolism for him with the relationships at the point that he was like, oh, they're ending, and I think that was his moment of being able to express that.
Yeah. I like that.
I just remember, so afterwards at the luncheon after the funeral, he is referred to as the weird friend, and I just think it's so funny that at a funeral you would call someone weird for
Yeah.
crying. I mean, it is a little interesting that someone who's never met the person who's
Right.
dead is weeping, but still, you call him weird, like maybe
Yeah, I know.
Maybe he's going through some stuff, you know? Just be like,
Exactly.
oh, honey, do you need a friend?
Yeah.
Do you need a hug from Aunt Sarah?
It's funny though because the tone of that was so great. It was so well crafted because when he started weeping to that, and she was delivering the Walt Whitman poem, like it was funny. It
was very
like
funny.
This was great comedy. This was really great situational humor.
Yeah. It was good writing. Yeah, I have nothing else to add.
Good
And
Point blank.
And period.
So, what else happened at the luncheon? Dom wants to maybe move back to Modesto after hearing about how great it is to be married and have kids there, and own the like resort or whatever, the country club or whatever that it's at. Patrick gets called weird.
Oh, we also find out that Dom is not seeing anyone. That it ended. It ended not too long ago. So at least we have an answer on whether or not he's seeing Lynn, and the answer is no.
I don't like that answer.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
There's still 4 episodes left in the season.
Yeah.
Plenty of time for Scott Bakula to show
To come
up.
back. That's true.
He better.
Lynn, where are you?
I know, seriously.
And
Looking
then,
for Lynn should be.
Looking for Lynn.
that's the next 4
Next
episodes. Looking for
Parts
Lynn.
1 through 4.
Yeah.
Looking for Lynn. Parts 1 through 4.
I like Lynn because I like what he has to offer to Dom, and if Dom would just put down those barriers, and if Lynn would open up a little more.
Lynn has to put down the barriers too. There's
But I'm
more than Dom in
thinking
a lot of
more
ways.
of Dom has to be willing to be vulnerable and accept that he could use help.
Maybe this episode was what was needed for Dom to be able to open up.
Yeah.
Maybe he's going to realize, oh my gosh, I do want that family life. I want that security. Maybe in Modesto, maybe not. But, let's go back to Lynn, see how he's doing.
Yeah. Oh, Lynn.
Lynn.
So then they're at the gravesite, and Dom is talking about how he never got to really experience a lot of life with his dad. So it sounds like his dad died when he was young, which I didn't even know Dom's dad had died. So
another tongue twister.
Yeah, a lot of D's in this episode.
Yeah. Sponsored
So-
by the letter D today. And plot.
And so, Pat, I actually thought this was a really cute idea. He's like, we're going to let your dad, since we can't find his grave, we'll just tell him that you're gay this way. And then they get in the car and they're speeding through. And I just think that's the cutest scene ever.
It was great.
They're all screaming out the window, Dad, I'm gay. And then everybody, I was watching this with a group of people, Blake included, and when the car crash happens, there was a collective,
Just the gayest of gay gasps.
The gay gasps.
Like,
But I mean, how did you guys
It's
react?
extra
I
intake.
was
Yeah.
shocked.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I actually heard the Australian accent come out when he's like, I'm gay, Dad. So I kind of found that part a little bit. And then I was just kind of watching. I was like, that is so cute. That's so, oh my God.
Right.
Like, I was not expecting it at all.
Yeah.
At all. And then cut straight to a hospital scene.
Ooh. They should do the people's couch version of this. You can watch the people watching the show have that moment and see the collective gasp. But yeah.
That definitely threw everything for a curveball, but it was necessary because of then it introduces Malik. He comes to save the day and to see Doris.
And that's when she finally broke down.
Finally lets it out.
Yeah.
And I think that just showed that Malik is her family and they are truly good for each other. And I mean, that's Doris being like letting down all the
her
humor,
guards.
all the walls.
Yeah, putting all those fences down and breaking it down and allowing herself to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
When you're comfortable
Again.
enough to ugly cry in front of
Exactly.
someone you love. that.
Exactly.
Yeah. As much, I mean,
Yeah.
it was only last episode, right? Where he was like, oh, I want you to love me or something.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, you're coming on a little too strong. And
Yeah.
this episode, I feel like as soon as she saw him, it was just kind of a relief too,
Yeah.
you know? She just kind of let loose and really opened up. It's what she needed to do. And I feel like we were waiting for tears this whole episode. And that's when we saw it, was when she saw him.
Yeah. And before he shows up, again, another really sweet moment.
Yeah.
Doris reveals to Dom that she inherited money and she wants to give it to Dom for the chicken window.
So sweet.
Oh, my heart.
You know,
That's friendship. That's
That
love.
is.
That
Yeah,
is
it is
love.
Oh,
love.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Because like you said about Malik, I feel like Dom is also her family.
Oh yeah.
Totally.
Oh, totally. Definitely.
And they had said, now we're both orphans. Like, they really only have each other.
Mhm.
I want
Yeah,
that.
I know.
They're
You know,
cute. They're
I was
good.
thinking at first, like, wow, why didn't he say, oh, no, that's okay, you know, like being nice about it or something. But I feel like when you're truly family
Right.
and someone says, look, I have this inheritance money, I want to give it to you,
It's not
real.
casual.
It's
not
genuine.
flippant. Yeah.
Right.
Because you know that if he was like, oh no, Doris, I can't, she'd be like, cut the bullshit I'm giving it to you.
exactly.
Don't fight this with me. I'm already uncomfortable.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I
like
just want to give this to you.
And like you said, true friends would be able to do that and not put the fake airs up like, oh, well, no, I can't take it.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. Although it is, you have to be a certain type of friend, like family, like you were saying, to be able to work that out with money, because that's always kind of a real
always
messy
gets
place.
crazy.
It does concern me down the road, but
This chicken better be exquisite.
yeah.
It better taste like
Yeah,
KFC.
because that's always it could always be an issue, when you're even with close people and family members and friends to loan money and give money.
Yeah, that's money and relationships.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's talk about what we've all been dying to talk about. Malik picks him up. He brings him to San Francisco. He drops off Pat at his doorstep. And who is waiting for him?
I know, conveniently.
Oh,
I mean, has he been like Carrie Bradshawing it for like 4 days, sitting on the stoop,
Just waiting.
Smoking, just chain
just
smoking.
smoking with a big
Holding his
flower
shoes.
pin attached to his shirt.
And a
Maybe
great
a
pair of
bird in
shoes.
Yes, some Manolos.
Yeah.
Kevin drops a lot of bombs in one sentence.
Oh, yeah.
I left John. I'm very in love with you. I want to make this work.
I know.
What?
Boom, boom, boom.
And then Patrick was he was just, okay, let's do it. I mean, there was no hesitation. There wasn't like, oh, let me think about it for a couple days. I mean, he was just like, I'm
All
in.
in.
I am
Play
all
hard
in.
to get or anything. Nothing.
No.
All right, so it seems like in this moment, Team Kevin has won. What are
This moment.
She says with such hesitation
there's
and
still-
a slight
there's
hint of
still-
disdain.
There's still episodes left in the season. Things could happen. How are we
Okay.
feeling about Kevin and Pat being together right now? Anybody?
Well, who wants to go
Bueller?
first?
Yeah, I'm
Bueller?
just gonna,
Like,
I'm just gonna dive into that.
I
know,
really
'cause
want
I
to hear
would
what you
jump
have
in.
to say,
I mean,
Kylie.
personally, you guys know my thoughts. I think that Kevin has a lot of baggage, and it's just because he ended it with John doesn't mean the John saga is done.
Right.
You know, they've been together for how many years? There's a lot of relationship behind his with Patrick's, and who knows? One day Kevin could wake up and be like, "I've made a mistake," and then who's hurt again?
Yeah.
Patrick.
Exactly.
Kevin is so unpredictable.
He is.
Yeah.
I feel like with what is his name? Is it Brody or Brady?
Brady.
Brady. I feel
Brady.
like Brady. I feel like Patrick is kind of like, okay, you know, Richie is a no-go. He is with Brady. That's not going to happen. And so Kevin is my next best bet, I feel. I don't know if I would say he's settling because I think he likes Kevin, but I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't think it's going to work out. I think Kevin has a history, and I think that he can easily repeat his actions.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's also a big part of it that is the excitement of the affair.
Yeah.
When that is removed from the situation, and now
Is
it's
it
like,
exciting?
okay, well, do I really like you, or is this
Right.
Is this gonna work?
Right.
Yeah,
'Cause
good
you-
point.
It does. You're right. Because there's that excitement there and that
'Cause
danger.
it was salacious.
And yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's like the danger and the behind the back kind of thing. And you know how I feel too. And that's just, I think he should be alone. Patrick needs to be alone.
Yeah, I agree.
He needs time to figure out what he needs to do, what's best for him. And frankly, Kevin does too. It's like, he's not going to just jump right into this relationship with Patrick now. And like you said, he has so much baggage, so much stuff to deal with. So I'm team no one. I'm team single.
Yeah.
I'm team single. And I'm going to stand by that
I would
Patrick
agree
needs
with
to be
you.
single. And then he's got to let that kind of sort out before he could be with either one of them, or a third person needs to enter into the mix down the road.
Oh, a number
down the
3.
road. Yes,
Oh,
number 3.
no.
Yes, just to throw in another, like, I don't know, it's not a triangle, was it a parallelogram? I don't even know. Parallelogram?
A trapezoid.
Trapezoid? I don't know. Whatever the
Hey, mascot, I
foresight.
hear you're taking this.
But I'm team single for right now, and I
Team
think that
single.
this is going to be a building disaster here with, like you said, with Kevin and his unpredictability and all that craziness. So.
Well, and where is Kevin living now? In his office? Because wasn't he
know.
living with
Oh
John?
yeah, good point.
Unless John
on the
moves
stoop,
out.
he was living on the stoop
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. That's his home.
of Patrick's
And now he's just going to
building.
move in with Patrick now that he's back. You
I mean,
know,
it
it's
is
gonna be-
convenient because isn't John moving to Seattle?
Well, that's we don't know. I mean,
That was kind of the talk.
That was sort of the talk in the previous episodes, and I don't. I was wondering, is that Kevin just saying that because he felt he had to get out of the picture? Was he really doing that, or is John going to go back to San Diego? I guess we don't.
I
want to
know the story. I want to
that.
know why they broke up and if Kevin
Yeah.
left because, hey, I'm not into you anymore. I like Patrick. Or
Or
oh, Seattle? Oh, I can't do that. My job's here.
Right.
We should break up.
Or was it? Or could it have been John? You know, we don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
That's
Could have been the whole other
And
side.
the biggest
That's
twist
true.
of all.
Yeah. Ooh. Who was it?
Kevin did say I left John, but he could have. That's kind of like
Right.
saying when you get broken up with,
Right.
you're like, I broke up with him. You didn't
Exactly.
break up with me.
Exactly. Because in a way, I'm like, was Kevin strong enough to actually do that? Because
Yeah.
we've seen so far he hasn't been.
Oh, clearly, yeah.
So
This is juicy.
yeah.
Well, before we jump into predictions, I want to jump into news and gossip quick. We have a few things. First of all,
AfterBuzz
I jumped the gun.
TV News.
I'm so not used to that intro.
Wow.
I like that. That was nice.
That was a nice
Thank you, Jonathan, in the
Yes,
booth.
it is.
dropping
bomb.
sound effect.
So this week, there's something in Los Angeles going on called Paley Fest, and Blake and I got to go and interview the cast and the creators of the show, which was so
It
cool.
was amazing. So much fun.
Jealous that I missed it, but you
was-
guys got some great stuff.
Yeah, we got to talk to all the cast and the crew, and then we got to screen the episode with a bunch of other media people, and everyone gasped with the car accident. And then we got to see a long talk back, a panel with the cast, so it was pretty cool. For the interviews, you can go to our Twitter accounts or go to the AfterBuzz YouTube page, and there's a whole playlist of all the interviews to check out there. But Blake, you have some news as well.
Well, something that I do think is worth mentioning, Russell Tovey, who's the actor that plays Kevin, is in some really hot water right now for some comments that he made, and I kind of want to get you guys' thoughts and opinions on it. He was telling a story about how he was thankful to his dad for not letting him attend the theater school that he had wanted to go to. He was crediting that his experience of not going to the theater school with his straight acting persona, which he feels like has helped him be able to get access to the roles that he's been able to play, and this whole non-effeminate sort of thing that is working for him. Now, Twitter lost its absolute mind,
Right.
because now that everyone drew conclusions that whereas he was making a specific reference to his life, and but that all of the social justice people came out of the woodwork and decided that now Russell Tovey is effeminate shaming, and this is his internalized homophobia talking, and all of the lots of psychobabble jargon. So thoughts?
So he was saying that he's glad he didn't go to this school because that way he was able to develop a straight persona. By not
more of a
attending.
masculine persona.
Okay.
That was sort
Wow.
of what he was
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. I don't think he labeled it straight acting.
Right.
I don't want to misquote him because
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the exact words were, but
Interesting.
It is very interesting
Ugh,
for sure.
I don't know. I'm not an actor, so I don't know what kind of persona you would get if you went to another theater school.
I mean, it's like you were saying with the effeminate shaming and the stereotypes that get thrown around and everything. So it's still out there. The stereotypes are out there, and I think it's tough. What he said, and I could see how it can be taken on either side.
definitely.
It made me think about if he were to go into. I'm trying to think through his eyes. If he's gone into auditions and seen other people who he thought were gay in real life and could see that they were like acting gay even though they were supposed to be a straight person.
Like typecast,
Yeah.
or if you're gay and you're effeminate, you're typecasted into certain campy characters, and vice versa.
Well, and I think what you guys are hitting on is the most important part of this story, is that what he's commenting on is that there are still inequalities in show business.
Sure.
There are prejudices, and that's really what this is more about.
Absolutely.
I can understand why people were offended, but I
Absolutely.
really do not think that Russell Tovey is effeminate shaming anyone. It's
right.
crazy.
I don't think that was his intention, but I get how that got taken.
Yeah, let's talk to Michael Urie about post Ugly Betty getting roles. Seriously.
Yeah.
And he's one of the greatest actors I know that can play anything.
Yep.
It's interesting. I wish I could talk to a casting director about this because at what point do you say, well, you just have to be a really good actor. You shouldn't be able to read your own personal, like sexual orientation or anything when you're in a character. But then that's like suggestive too by saying that this person seems like they're acting gay. It's like, well, maybe that's just the way he's interpreting this character would be.
Right.
This is hard.
I wonder too if it's about luck. I mean, if he could go back and go to the theater school and go on all of these auditions, I wonder, like you guys were saying, his persona that he gives in auditions, I wonder if he would be considered if he would be typecast as a specific type of playing a specific role.
Yeah.
Because I don't.
This is hard.
I know it is hard because
bringing you the tough questions on AfterBuzz TV.
I just don't really think that he would be typecasted. I'm not sure.
You
And
never know.
and that's the
Such a
thing
tough
too.
one,
I mean,
yeah.
it really. I think it might be luck. I think it also might be how you present yourself.
But
So
I think that's where he was going back and by saying if he went to the theater school, he would present himself in a more
different way,
Yeah,
in a slightly more
effeminate
traditionally
sort-
effeminate way.
Right.
Can we,
So I think that's
Russell?
what he's
Can you
saying.
just call us?
I know,
Can
so we can discuss
I
this and get to
know.
the
Well,
just
but
get you
if
to-
you
I was
gonna
if
say
you
the
guys
bottom of this,
if you
but
guys
we
have an
have fun.
opinion, do tweet us and
Yeah,
we'd
love
use
to know.
use the hashtag ABTV looking and tell us, are you pro Russell's comments, anti Russell's comments? Let us know. Let us know what you
was-
think.
are
This
you
is an important
torn?
And what you
conversation.
think, because it
It
is
is.
important.
And also, that's an interesting comment he made because that kind of ties into when I was interviewing Daniel Francesi, who plays Eddie on the show. I asked him if he gets typecast as like the sassy gay
Yeah,
friend
the sassy gay
because of
campy
Mean
friend.
Girls, and he said that that's definitely been an issue in his life, and he actually wasn't even out until a few years
Right.
ago. So
Yeah.
there was this time period where I'm sure he was like totally struggling inside and wondering why he wasn't getting these like masculine roles and getting pigeonholed by casting directors. I mean, that's just
It's
I
tough
can't imagine.
in and out of the business because I facilitate coming out groups, and there's a lot of people that have issues with those stereotypes, and if they're too feminine or they're masculine, and it's a whole issue in the community. So this just kind of puts it under a microscope when you're talking about acting, and you're getting comments like this, even if they weren't meant to be this way, they could be interpreted in a negative way. So it is very tough.
But see, it's also all about the time frame too, because I feel like if Mean Girls happened right now, I don't know if Daniel would have a difficult time getting future roles.
Who knows? Yeah.
But I
A
mean,
lot
again,
has changed.
yeah.
10
The
years.
business has changed.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure.
We
still got a long way to go.
long way to go.
Oh yeah.
A lot of work to do, and I'm tired
I
just
mean,
thinking
all this
about
social
it.
activism is
Whoa.
exhausting.
Let's take things back to looking. Let's do some predictions.
Yes.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Scott, what are your
I
predictions?
put me on the spot.
Yeah, I am.
Going back to what we were saying, I really want to see Lynn back in the picture in these last couple episodes. I think that both Dom and Lynn need each other, and so I want to see that develop a little bit more. And I still believe the pending storm with Kevin and Patrick, it's not like all happily ever after. Everything's going to be great here. This is going to be a lot of drama and a lot of issues that are going to be continuing these next 3 or 4 episodes. So it's not what Team no one, team single.
I totally agree. And when
Yeah.
I spoke with Murray Bartlett, who plays Dom. I asked him, I was like, "Are we gonna get more Lynn?" And he gave me a very ambiguous
Of
answer.
course he did.
That makes me think we're probably gonna see him again, but I also want to see him
I
again.
do.
So I'm
I think
drawing
that I want to
conclusions.
see that relationship, and I do. Again, I think they need each other in a way, and they need to get past the issues that they have, and between the two of them, they can do that.
I have it. I'm convinced that Lynn is going to come back into the picture, and I feel like Dom will approach him now that he has the money for this chicken.
Window.
That there you go.
Yes.
Like chicken coop. What?
Chicken window.
Now that he has the money for this, I
Yeah.
feel like he might approach Lynn and be like, "Hey, help me." Like I wonder the way.
Right, or like I don't need you in the sense anymore because he kind of depended on Lynn for those contacts and
Right.
the financiers and all that. Now he may not need that anymore.
But I wonder how Lynn is going to come back into the picture. If
Yeah.
it's going to be in a relationship sense or if it's going to be in a business partner.
I want a
Let's
relationship.
do this. You want relationship?
Yes.
Relationship.
Because I think
Are
that's
we
how they
shipping
get
them?
by. Yes,
We might be.
Shipping
We
them.
might be shipping them.
Yes.
Oh, I'm totally
Shipping
them.
Dlin.
Yeah.
Dylan.
Dom.
Domlin.
Dom.
Dom.
Yeah.
Domlin.
It
It doesn't
work.
work.
It doesn't
Their
work.
names
You
don't
can't
work.
put it in Us
Dlin.
Weekly, so it's not a thing.
Dylan.
Sorry, guys.
Just change your name
Sorry.
so it
Maybe
can work.
maybe Dylan. I don't know. It's not pretty, but
Dom. Nope. No, I'm not even.
long.
You got any predictions?
Long.
The only thing that to add to that I'm kind of thinking is going to happen that I'm kind of looking forward to is when Richie finds out that Patrick and
Right.
Kevin are actually
Yes.
giving
He
it a
will
go.
lose so
It'll-
much
Yes.
respect.
It will be
Yes.
very interesting to watch
will.
that reaction.
Absolutely.
Or you think he'll find out? You think Richie will
Oh, I
find
think
out?
so. I think,
Oh, yeah,
I think
of
he's
course
got
he
to.
will.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
evils.
we've got to
You
go
think
there.
Patrick will tell him? I don't think so.
Oh.
I don't think that's going to be
I don't
the
know if
case.
he'll find out or they'll find out and going out or something.
Or
They'll see
maybe
each other
Augustine will
out.
say something.
Somebody will it's
Yeah,
gonna happen.
it's gonna
It's
happen.
gonna happen.
Augustine will tell Dom while he's getting a haircut. Or Augustine will tell Richie
Richie.
while he's getting a haircut.
Yep.
There you go.
That's how it's going to happen.
Ba-bam.
Somehow.
All right,
Ugh.
let's until next time. Let's tell everybody where people can find you on the internet.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Blake McIver.
And you guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Kellie Knez.
Twitter at the Kylie Hodges, Instagram at Kylie Hodges, and find me on YouTube as well.
I know it's like, yeah, like Twitter at sman80, that's SMAN80, and Instagram at thescottmore80, because my common name. And you can find me on Thursday nights also with season 6 of Archer.
Ooh,
After show.
nice.
Yay.
What an episode. I
Yeah,
hope next
great.
week is just as good. Thank you guys so much for
Absolutely.
watching. See you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.